Hail and welcome to Necromancer, the channel where we review pop culture, especially sci-fi. Today we're going to be reviewing Star Trek Picard Part 5, Imposters. Good day, Necromancer. How are you?
I'm okay. And yourself?
I'm doing very well. So,
Pretty
Season
good.
3, Episode 5, Imposters.
Imposters, much like J.J. Drek and Alex Tersman being imposters to Star Trek.
Why don't you tell us what you really think?
Yes, I shall. I think I shall.
Okay, let's get into it.
So
spoiler free, what's your overall feeling or thought?
Oh, man. A few great points, a few crap points. So, yeah. 4 on 10. And the 4 is only because there were good parts.
Okay.
Out of this episode was a little bit more leaning back toward this crappery and a little bit of the whammon power. So if they're going to try and sneak that in, it's going to be a hard nope, and I'm leaving.
Oh yeah, so I give it maybe 5.5, 6 out of 10. So because some of the elements were really Star Trek, I really enjoyed. They did a lot of moving characters forward in this, rather than just looking back and trying to destroy previous characters. They explain a lot. There were some really excellent dramatic moments in it. So that's why, for me, it gets a 6. Also, some very good external shots, apart from one I'll talk to you about. Okay, so shall we start? Let's get into the spoilers and do the review.
Spoiler time.
Okay, so we open up the episode, and Jack Crusher enters the bridge wearing a Starfleet uniform and proceeds to take a phaser and kill everybody on the bridge. And these red vines that we've seen him, these red tentacle type things that we've seen him have visions of, starts to spread across the people on the bridge and the entire bridge. And
I'm under the impression that he shoots LaForge's daughter.
Oh yeah, she was on the bridge as well.
Okay, so well, when you see something like that, you say, oh, well, I guess they're subverting our expectations again.
Yeah. They do it twice in this episode. So, yeah, I mean,
it's overdone. Ridiculous.
It's
I don't understand what you're trying to do.
Yeah, it's a cheap trick, and everybody caught on as soon as, well, I mean, I guess as soon as these tentacles start to spread, you see, oh, okay, now I know what's happening.
Well, yeah.
If you've been paying attention at all.
This cheap manipulation, it's cheap. Yeah. You know, show us a better way of doing that.
Yeah. Anyhow, before this character dies, she says, I know what you really are. And then he wakes up in his cabin. When I say wakes up, he's standing in the middle of his cabin, holding a phaser as though he were in a trance. And his eyes glow red, and we hear Vadek's voice, Jack, come home.
Now, for some odd reason, that phaser looks very much like an original series, Phaser 2.
Oh, well, I haven't, I didn't get a screenshot of that, unfortunately. So I wish I could have helped you with that. My apologies.
Okay, keep going forward. I'll see what I can find while you go ahead.
Yeah, good analysis. Titan has paused on the edge of the Alpha Quadrant for repairs. So the warp core has still got some problems, and I really love this shot. It's a really nice shot of the Titan. You got the ship is well lit. You can actually see different features on the ship, which is a real rarity for this series.
Yeah, it's a TMP quality of shot, like Wrath of Khan. The only question I have is why?
Yeah,
why would a ship just stop over the Alpha Quadrant, just stop inside Federation space for repairs? Why would they not continue to the first available starbase for repairs?
I did think that. No One argument may be, I'm not saying I agree with this argument. Okay, I'm just saying what the argument might be. You see all these little dots above the nacelles, and you see all these little dots above the saucer section, the primary hull, and there's some on the secondary hull as well. They're moving. And you see little flashes of light around some of them. They're supposed to be people repairing the outside of the ship.
That's what I understood, yeah.
Yeah. But again, I would ask the exact same. I asked myself, why the hell are they doing this as this edge of the Alpha Quadrant? Starbase all over, right? Come on now.
Absolutely ridiculous.
This is Star Trek. It's not, Buck Rogers. It's not Voyager, where you have no choice. In Voyager, they had no choice. They were stranded. They had no friendlies, right? But come on, Alpha Quadrant. They try to figure out how a changeling got on board. They're trying to figure it out because, according to Jerry Ryan, here's a picture of Jerry Ryan, by the way. She said, internal imaging scan, and I lost all self-control. And then about 20 minutes later, I came back to review the episode a bit more.
And then we have Shaw still acting like an unprofessional asshole.
Yeah. He uses the BS. He says, you guys, I'll leave the room so you can get your bullshit story together. Oh, my God.
He's still being an unprofessional jack-off. How did he get command of a ship like that?
Don't know. Yeah. Starfleet, because Shaw has called them, Starfleet is coming to find out what the heck went down, and Picard will take full responsibility. Bev apologizes for getting Picard involved because, if you'll remember, it was her initial distress call that alerted him to this situation and got him involved. Okay. And Worf and Raffi are now together.
Sparring with Raffi Don't Care.
Yeah. And you can see here his eyes are closed. So he's basically got his eyes closed, fighting her at one point, and beats her ass very easily.
At one point, what does she do? Whack him in the nuts or something?
Oh, I don't know. She hits him.
At some point, it looks like that. Oh, ho, 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 yeah. Score 1 for the whammon. Sure. The writers don't understand martial arts. Masters are very hard to beat. They know all the tricks. We get an asshole teenager comment from Raffi Don't Care. Something that an experienced fighter should know wouldn't do. Yeah. Telling him about, oh yes, you're meditating because I was going to beat you. You sound like a jackass. You sound like a teenager. The writer who wrote that line is a hack.
Worf and Raffi are denied access to Daystrom Station to continue their investigation. So they have to find another lead. And so they find, I guess he was an associate of Sneed's, whose head they cut off. And you see down here, it says known associates. Sneed of Ferenginar, right? So Kryn. And we don't know anything about him. As you can see, everything is unknown. Everything's unknown. And he's at Metalis Prime. So there's again, we've got Terry Metalis inserting himself in the episode. Okay, I guess if you're going to do it, that's not the worst way to do it. There we go.
However, look how it's spelled with an M and an apostrophe T. So that looks a lot like Vulcan.
Klingon. Oh, Vulcan.
Vulcan.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
To bring to pow.
Oh, that's true.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Wanted still at large. Now, I don't know if I should let you go off on this and just talk about me agreeing with it, or if I should. Here, I'll just call up an image, and let's see what you think, because we haven't spoken about this beforehand.
Yes. What's going on here with all the ships suddenly looking like the motion picture and the Next Generation mixed together? Are you trying to make up for the Enterprise of J.J. Jerk's movies? Are you trying to make up for the Discrapery? I don't know what's going on. Or the Klingon ships in Discrapery, which look like congealed turds? Yeah, you can see where I'm going with this. Yes, that Drek is a great big piece of shit. Yeah.
So I saw this ship and I thought, let's make this secondary hull a double ender. If you don't know what a double ender is, Google it. Not safe for work. Also, Google navigational deflector while you're at it and see why it is in the front of the ship facing forward. Yeah. Why would we have a navigational deflector facing the direction, not the direction of travel, opposite from the direction of travel of the ship? The ship has a front. The ship has a rear. I made sure before I wrote this point down and checked on this that the Intrepid came in from the right side of the screen, moving towards the left. So the saucer section is indeed the front. There is no reason to have a navigational deflector facing rearward, unless, I mean, maybe if I were to listen to anybody tell me why it makes sense to have that, it would be you, Necro. So what do you think about that?
Well, there is absolutely no reason to have a navigational deflector facing the rear, unless they have asteroids thrown at them from the rear.
Maybe there are asteroids coming from behind, and that's why they need a double ender. There's a joke in there.
But really, no, it's ludicrous. Sure, Intrepid is a nice touch to the original series.
In name only.
In name only, the Intrepid was another Constitution class ship entirely staffed by Vulcans, which was lost due to a gigantic
Oh, that's
space
right.
amoeba.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So then we have Intrepid. It tells Titan to basically you're under arrest for now and power down, and we are going to send a shuttle over. And then I wonder, where the hell did the shuttle come from? Because where the shuttle bay normally is on a ship, there's another navigational deflector. So where's the shuttle coming from? Right above it, it looks like they're torpedo tubes.
That's
Then
right.
I see an impulse engine above that.
Mhm.
These people, the writers, or whoever's designing this, I would love to see their where is what on the ship. The ships are supposed to have specific components, and because you've decided on an extra navigational array, where's the shuttle bay gone?
I mean, really, these ships look like Enterprise C time period.
Yeah.
Right after the motion picture.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah. Anyhow, so they decide to send a shuttle over. And here's a picture of Jerry Ryan. Because Picard tells her he has to ask her for one more favor about Jack Crusher before these officers from Intrepid come over. So nice picture of Jerry Ryan there. And the security officer turns out to be Ro Laren from the original, not the original series, but the Next Generation.
Next Generation series.
Yeah. Bajoran character that was an ex-con, an ex-fugitive that spent time in jail and then ended up on the Enterprise and was
Somehow.
a bit of a contentious event. Yeah, a contentious character there. And she and Picard formed a strong bond. They ended up being children together, along with Guinan and somebody else. I don't remember who. I think it was Hoshi or something like that at one point. With the whole time paradox travel thing that sometimes happens in Star Trek. And it was a very I really liked the character of Ro, but probably just because of the way Michelle looked at the time and the way she still looks.
Fine looking woman.
A very handsome
Here
woman.
we go. A good looking grandma.
Yeah. I can't complain. Can't complain with that. Now here's a picture of Jerry Ryan. She's setting up a game of hide and seek where she's going to hide Jack Crusher so that Ro Laren can't find him. And boy, can I just say, I would love to play hide and seek with Jerry Ryan. Now, here's another one of my issues.
You can see the hand of freaking Alex Turdsman once again with his vomiting fetish.
I mean, what is this? So we've got a Starfleet trained military officer who sees something that she knows is an alien, knows it isn't herself, and she can't hold down her lunch. And so where is she going to vomit? She's going to vomit right behind her.
Why is she even going to vomit? Because Alex Turdsman has got a fetish for it. That's why.
It's supposed to be funny, and it's not funny. Yeah. It completely misses. Completely misses. Anyway, this scene is important, and that takes away from it, because this is where we find that the changelings are able to perfectly mimic a human down to the finest minute level, except for DNA. So they can mimic your blood and your plasma. They can mimic all of your internal organs, and they say only under intense dissection does the tissue revert to changeling tissue, which means you have to cut the liver like 12 times, right? Mm-hmm. Something like this. Let's see. Rose starts her investigation while Jack seems to be losing control of himself. He seems to be losing his mind. He keeps having visions of himself shooting members of the crew and killing members of the crew. Funny, odd visions of what's going on when people are transporting in the transporter. He sees these red tentacles appear behind them when they were transporting over to the Intrepid. So something is wrong with Jack. Drastically wrong, but we don't quite know what yet. And then we meet Kryn. We find out who Kryn is. This is the Worf and Raffi don't care scene. Mm-hmm. And it seems that
Vulcan is a crime boss. Well, yeah. Okay. At first I thought that seems really bizarre. I suppose it's possible.
Okay.
It's a bit of a reach. So Romulan crime boss, yeah, we wouldn't have a problem with it. A Vulcan crime boss? I suppose. Wearing an Idic is very bizarre for a crime boss.
You want to tell us what that is?
What are they trying to do? Are they trying to subvert the institutions of the past? Because there is a marked remark about that later from Ro. The Idic that he's wearing is the Vulcan symbol, infinite diversity and infinite combinations, which was invented in the original series in 1966, 67, 60, 68, when it was on television then. That's where it comes from. A very good ideal to uphold, as long as everybody is equal and no one group gets to hold down or stomp on another group. You don't get justice by turning the tables on people who were unjust to you.
Bev discovers, we mentioned this already, that she discovers about the shapeshifters, that they can now fool internal scans and they can fool blood tests. And she refers to it as evolution. You know what this really reminds me of? The end of season 2 of The Next Generation. Conspiracy.
I thought that was season 1, as far as I recall.
Well, it might have been. Yeah. It might have been the end of season 1. It was pretty grisly.
I was going to mention that later. That's the exact same storyline, which I think is a really good one. Yeah. That was originally supposed to be what the Borg became.
Oh, right.
Those insects, yes, at the end of Conspiracy. But they found out that they didn't really look very good, and it didn't turn out quite as they wanted, so they basically abandoned that storyline.
It was a little gross too, how it worked.
Oh yeah, right? It was odd. Like, I would say, whoa, this is Star Trek.
They took it a bit too far with
the
guy's head blowing up and
and
skin melting off first.
Yeah, a skeleton.
So at this point, Ro is grilling him, and you wanted to mention something about her grilling him, just calling him a traitor, treason.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of talking down to Picard, and Picard being penitent. He looks penitent again, and that's what brings the episode down a good 3 points for me.
Okay. He suspects Ro, who, by the way, isn't wearing her Bajoran earring. She's only asking after Jack as well. She's not asking after the Shrike. She's not asking after Vadic. And Picard is calling her out on this stuff. But she's in the position of power. You can even see from body language, she's standing, he's sitting in the scene. So she's above him. She's the one who's in control of the scene. And he says, well, there's something urgent and medical. We have to go to sickbay. And she says, okay. She takes him out into the hallways, where she pulls a phaser on Picard and orders him into the holodeck instead of a
turbo lift. So we have another humming phaser. Really bad parts in the future. They must be manufactured in a subpar manufacturing plant.
It's got a harmonica inside.
Yeah, subpar.
So it can get the phaser harmonics working right.
Yeah, after a few firings, they break down and you have to buy a new one.
Yeah. So Picard complies because he doesn't want to get shot. And of course, the holodeck is still 10 forward because they haven't spent a lot of money on this. Kurtzman has wasted so much money on Star Trek, and so has J.J. Abrams. Empty promises that there's no more money left. And so they can't afford more than one set in the holodeck. So it's always 10 forward in the holodeck. So Picard turns off the safety protocols when she says, let's turn on some music, so that the excuse is it's soundproof. But of course, you're on a bloody holodeck. I do remember in one of the holo suites in Deep Space Nine that what's his name, Miles O'Brien, and the chief medical officer were once fighting in the Battle of Britain. Now, I don't know if you've ever been near a Merlin engine when it starts up. They were flying Spitfires in the Battle of Britain, but that's bloody loud. So it's one of the most loud things I've ever heard. I was recently at an air show and heard a few different Merlin engine powered aircraft start up and taxi right along in front of me. And I was very happy that I brought headphones and ear protection because it's extremely loud. Now, if that sound doesn't cause a problem above Quark's bar, in his holosuites, I'm sure that this is soundproof. So you lose technical points for me when Rose suggests that we need some music to mask the sound of me killing you. Basically, is how I read this scene of me killing you. I'm about to kill you. I need something to mask the sound. Turn on the music. He turns on the music. She looks over at the jukebox. He grabs a phaser,
which also hums.
Which also hums. Well, in any event, Ro tells Captain Picard, they have a deep and meaningful conversation, right? They have a deep and meaningful conversation about how they broke each other's heart.
It's pretty good. With
I thought it was good drama.
Fifis. We had some
it was.
We have more fifis from Alex Kurtzman's soap opera.
Yes. But they talked about their bond and they use it as a plot device, and I think as a pretty good plot device at this point, so that they move both characters forward in their story. They both develop through this conversation that they have. Not only that, they also are now in a place where they know that the other one is not a changeling. So they use their previous relationship to develop their characters, flesh out their characters a bit more, and move the story along. To me, although it is feelings, that's good writing. So I appreciated that scene.
It's okay writing. Would you have seen a scene like this in the original Next Generation? No.
I think you might have seen it if they were both browbeaten, if they were tired. If Picard was in a situation maybe halfway along his journey to saying, "They're awful lights." I think if, when you're tired and when you're stressed, when you're under constant attack, maybe then. Anyway.
When you're old and you're stuck in an android body, it's possible.
Yeah, who knows? I appreciated it. Maybe as humans. So they decide that that neither of them are changelings and that they trust each other. Kryn forces Raffi and Worf to fight. Now notice here that we have Worf on the right. That looks like Michael Dorn. We have Raffi on the left. That looks like a blur. I don't know what that is, but clearly the stunt actor. I think that's Michael Dorn on the right. Do you think that's Michael Dorn?
Could be. Old now, Who knows?
Who knows? He just flipped the knife there, and it was very cool. The fight was pretty good. There was a few, some very close, jiu-jitsu type moves, like standing jiu-jitsu type moves that I appreciated, Aikido type moves. But of course, Raffi.
The amazing Whammon beats Worf. Sure.
Yeah. Well, I saw it, and then I saw Worf's speech afterwards, and I saw his speech beforehand, and I thought, yeah, we know what's going on here. And so I was sure even then that Worf is pretending to die. He says, "It is a good day to die." Klingons have multiple redundant organs, as was established in the Next Generation, and his fighting ability far exceeds Raffi. He was, defending her attacks eyes closed before. He knows what she's going to do before she knows what she's going to do. So I was sure that this was just a put on. These two security officers are changelings because as they go into the meeting room here where Ensign Ro, not Ensign, I guess she's commander now, Commander Ro is interrogating Picard. They see that they're not there anymore, and they make this kind of animal type growling sound as they turn away. So I'm pretty sure these guys are changelings.
I guess they're finally getting the hint of show, don't tell.
Yeah. So very happy with that. Ro and Picard share information about how deep the conspiracy goes. Ro says that because she's an investigator, right? She has information and evidence that there have been changeling incidents on 12 separate starships, Federation starships, and nobody is connecting the dots. The news is not getting out that this is going on.
Oh, and she even went to the media. Wow. So they're trying to narrate to you kiddies that the media are not a propaganda joke in these times.
Here's a picture of Jerry Ryan. Because I haven't seen her for at least 10 minutes. So I better put a picture of Jerry. That's such a good picture too. Look at the nostrils. Wow. Now, Kryn tells Raffi that she now works for him, but just as he's saying that, Worf, told you he wasn't dead, kills all of Kryn's guards. How? Who knows? He's awesome. And captures Kryn. And he agrees to provide them with a means to infiltrate Daystrom Station. Bum, bum, bum. Good Star Trek music on this visual. Beautiful visual. Please tell me what you think about this.
Nice. It's very nice. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And calling it the Daystrom Institute, very good callback to the original series.
Yeah. Ro has left the Titan with the skeleton crew. Most of the Titan's crew has beamed over to the Intrepid, and she tells Picard to run and that she'll buy him some time. She wants him to continue the investigation on his front, and she'll continue it on her front. She is on the shuttle on the way back to the Intrepid, and her security detail transports back to the Titan, and they shapeshift. And just before they transport back to the Titan and shapeshift, they kind of put this transport inhibitor and a bomb, but they're able to transport off.
Yeah.
Look, I
So
don't know how that exactly works.
I'd have to say that Ro being caught flat-footed like that in her shuttle was good. It was pretty good. It's a bit strange that she wouldn't suspect everyone. I would think that she'd have a weapon on her at all times. And
I think she knew that these guys, yeah.
If she was the head officer, then they should be piloting the shuttle, not her.
Oh, that's true. That's a good,
yeah.
A bit of convenient writing here.
Yeah, a little bit too convenient there, but I guess we could let it pass.
Yeah.
The way she handled the bomb was not. Calling the Intrepid when she knows it's compromised, that's kind of stupid. It's smart that she damages the Intrepid. The Intrepid's very stupid to let her approach. They should have blown her right over the sky as soon as she got too close.
Yeah.
Are they all asleep?
Yeah.
I mean, the people who write this, they could have done better. The whole situation could have been better.
Yeah.
She could have been killed in another manner.
Well, we don't know if she's dead because the screen, connection is lost. Even though Jerry Ryan tosses her head and her hair whips around in the most satisfying way. She's the communications officer, so she receives the hail. Just before we see the shuttle run into the port nacelle of the Intrepid and blow the front half of it up, or front quarter of it up. The communication is lost, or the connection is lost. So we don't actually see Ro die.
Well, that'd be pretty cheap if she doesn't.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you said she was expectations. No, that's a cheap escape, worthy of
I don't know, because you just said she was caught flat-footed, and that's out of character.
Mm-hmm.
So did she have a contingency, and letting the changelings think that she died is what she wanted to have happen? That's a possibility.
Okay.
That's a possibility.
You could do that. All right. We'll see. We'll see
how
they handle it.
Yep. Jerry Ryan.
Yeah.
Ro sacrifices herself as far as we can see, right? So there's the explosion. Just a nice external visual shot. I thought the explosion was very cool. And then there's a leaking blue, like a plasma type gas afterwards. I thought it was very cool.
Nicely done.
Yep. Then Shaw is indecisive as Intrepid prepares to fire.
Standing around, holding his dong.
Now, I don't quite mind when Jerry Ryan is being a girl boss, which she is here, but she's not really being a girl boss. She's letting him know that we have beamed the majority of our crew over to the Titan. So if we fire on them and we start a battle with them, we're going to be fighting our own crew and potentially killing our own crew, right? So get your act together. Let's turn this ship around and start running. Because that's what Picard has said. Let's run, right?
And since Shaw is an inept captain, it takes him a while to do it, but he does it just in time, and the torpedoes just missed his ship.
Yep. So Shaw tells his crew that Starfleet has been compromised. So he's now on board with everybody. Starfleet has been compromised, and he goes to Red Alert, and the changelings find Jack Crusher.
Well, he manages to kill 2 changelings, and we have 2 more that impossibly beamed in. Where could they have beamed from? They couldn't have beamed from the Intrepid because the ship is on red alert. Shields are up. You can't beam in through the shields.
So you think they were already on board, and it was a site-to-site?
That's the only explanation for it, and hopefully that's what it's supposed to be. Okay, so we could let this one go.
Okay.
It's not clear what type of phaser he's holding there. But in the earlier scene, the second scene where he killed the transport officer, I think that was Phaser 2, which was the original series phaser. And no, they don't have bolts. They have a continual stream. So maybe it's supposed to be 25% different. I don't know what's going on. But phasers with bolts, no.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
we can't lay that entirely on this series. I think they started pulling that shit around Deep Space Nine, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Yeah.
More like a
phasers
projectile.
don't shoot bolts. Phasers shoot streams.
Yeah. It's like turning a light on and off, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
now
not
what
Star
I found,
Wars, guys.
yeah, that's right. What I found interesting here is just before, like, so basically he's got 4 changelings and he knows it's about to go down, right? And just before it starts going down, you see him kind of close his eyes and retreat mentally, and he sees the red door that we spoke about in previous episodes. He sees these tentacles, these red tentacles or red blood vessels, kind of, you know, or vines or roots in his mind's eye. And then he opens his eyes and he, like, I mean, it's like watching Bruce Lee take out a rival school, you know, or fighting a group of bullies outside of an ice house.
All of a sudden,
He takes them out without any wasted movement at all. And everything is planned out like a Jason Bourne movie or a John Wick movie. You know what I mean? Just bloody fantastic. So is that far-fetched? I would say it would be far-fetched if they didn't use the plot device of indicating that something beyond the normal is going on in his mind. Something superhuman, something abnormal is going on with Jack Crusher.
Well, honestly, they'd better start resolving that next episode because it's becoming tedious.
Okay. So after which he has another vision after he takes out these 4 guys. And again, you see these vines and you see the red door. This is not a normal Starfleet turbo lift door.
What is this? The Shazam movie?
It's just a red door.
Is it going to lead to the Rock of Eternity, Mr. Mind?
Yeah, maybe.
The Wizard Shazam, who will create him to become the next Captain Marvel, the original Captain Marvel?
Marvel.
No, Marvel would be the one that Marvel Comics made.
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah. Captain Marvel, Shazam, Captain Marvel. Yeah. Yes, that's right.
Shazam's Captain Marvel is the original Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one that Marvel Comics has is Captain Marvel.
So after the vision and the Intrepid warps away from the attack, sorry, not the Intrepid, the Titan is warping away from the Intrepid's attack. And so we're at warp speed now, and we have a moment or two to breathe. Now we find that Ro's earring was actually a data chip that has all of her information pertaining to the investigation up until now, as well as access to her asset. Her chief asset is Mr. Worf, and his asset is Raffi Don't Care. So they have a bit of a chat and say, oh, rendezvous or reunion. Oh, Mr. Worf. Oh, Commander Riker. Captain Picard. Well, Admiral Picard, Captain Riker. Ooh, look, member berries. Member. Shaking the keys. Yeah. Anyway, Bev knows something's not quite right with Jack, and she calls him out on it, but not in an evil way, from a, you know, in a very Beverly Crusher type of caring type of way, which is the Bev that we know, that we complained about in episode 1 when she was just killing in cold blood.
Yeah.
This is much more like Beverly in keeping with her character.
Absolutely.
Right? She knows something's not quite right with Jack, and he tells her that he knows there's something very wrong with him as well. He admits to it. And that is where we leave the episode. And here's a picture of Jerry Ryan again. Star Trek seems to be muddling through. We'll see if things improve. But as long as there continues to be garbage like this, garbage like, well, I guess that was a bit garbage. Garbage like the barfing, and garbage like this guy in front using words like BS. It's not real Star Trek.
With that, we hope to see something better by episode 6. That's it for this episode.
Great.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Yep.
And let us know what you think in the comments section, by all means.
All right. Thanks for that, Necro.
And thank you very much. Live long and prosper.